Welcome back to the junk room, everybody. Blah, blah, blah. You know all that. Let's talk about punching bags, or maybe pop bags, you could call them that. Or maybe there was also sold under the name Punch Me's. Try to release something called Punch Me's today. You probably get punched in the face before you got canceled from social media. But anyway, these were punching bags for kids. They wasn't really like punching bags. It wasn't like the little small bag that's on the chain that you go like this to. Brrr. Hated that thing. You could never hit it more than once. And they wasn't like real punching bags. What these were was like a balloon. It was a piece of vinyl. You blow it up. And it had one of, it's like blowing up a tube when you go to the beach. You know, you getting lightheaded. I sure couldn't do that today. But at the bottom of these was a big hunk of sand. I guess it was sand. I never really cut open them to see what was inside, but I believe it was sand. And you would blow it up, sit it up, punch it, and it would fall over, and the weight of it at the bottom would bring it back up. That's right. But they made a lot of these. Now, I think they still make these today, but they're not as popular as they were. I would say their heyday was the 70s. If something was on TV or at the movie theater, it seems like they threw it out in the 70s. 80s, you got a little bit more, and I guess there were some in the 90s, but who cares? We're talking about 70s and 80s here. And they did all kinds of crazy ones. And what struck me as odd looking at some of these pictures today is they sure did make a lot of them that I wouldn't think people would want to punch. Now, growing up, the one I had that I remember I had, actually my brother had it, was Mr. Spock from Star Trek. I can remember blowing this thing up and punching it, and why would anyone want to punch Spock? Why didn't they make it Khan or a Klingon or a Romulan or something? But no, you get to punch Spock in the jimmy. It wasn't even Captain Kirk. Oh, if it was Uhura, I would have liked to hit that. But they made a lot of characters I just couldn't see wanting to beat up. Star Wars did these under the Pop Bag title, 4 of them, and there was like Jawa and R2 and some other ones. Who wants to beat up a Jawa? Anyway, I thought it'd be fun to take a look at these, and these things must be kind of rare because a lot of them I couldn't even find pictures for. I would find ads for them, but then I tried to narrow it down, like Welcome Back Kotter was in the ads, so let me just find that bag so I can talk about it. But I couldn't find just it. So it must be pretty hard to find. I guess kids did pop them, hit them really hard, or parents threw them away after that. But these have been around for a long time. In fact, Ideal, that company that did Evel Knievel toys in the 70s, they made one of these way back in the 1950s. And this one came with a pump. I don't think the ones in the 70s came with pumps, at least not the ones I knew of, because I had to blow them up with my mouth. But look at that kid. That's probably how your dad looked back in the 50s. And he's beating up some bald-headed guy named Joe. But let's skip the 50s, and before we look at the random ones from the 70s and 80s, some of them you're going to be surprised they made, trust me. Let's look at the ones Kenner did. Pop bags, inflatable pop bags. Again, only 4 of them. I don't know if they just didn't sell well or the market was just out of it by the 80s, because there's no Empire Strikes Back ones, no Return of the Jedi ones, limited to only Star Wars. So let's take a look at them. First up, you have Chewbacca. Again, who would want to punch Chewbacca in the face? And look, they're double teaming him. Look at that little blonde wannabe Luke Skywalker and that Princess Leia. Ugh, I wish they made a pop bag of these 2 kids. I'll teach them what happens to anyone that beats up Chewbacca. And that is a rare-looking Chewbacca. He looks kind of angry for Chewbacca. If you didn't know Star Wars, you just saw this box, you would think that was one of the villains from the movie. And here's a little boy and a girl beating up a Jawa. Again, why do you want to punch a Jawa in the face? Well, I guess they're supposed to be punching it. That little boy looks like he's trying to give him a hug. And here's R2D2. Oh my God, what is this kid wearing? It looks like someone shot a couch. Oh, the 70s, man. What a horrible time for clothes. But here's R2D2. And yes, we did spell out the name R2D2 and C3PO a lot in the 70s. But here they are beating up the lovable droid. What's wrong with you kids? Leave R2 alone. But here's someone you can really get behind beating up. Inflatable pop bag of Darth Vader. And look at this little girl. She's not about to punch him in the face. She's looking right between his legs. She knows how to take down the Sith Lord. Well, that's a look at Star Wars. Sadly, only 4 of them. We never got one of Boba Fett. And you know my rule. If you're making something in Star Wars, you got to at least make it have Boba Fett on it. I mean, come on, why would you not have Boba Fett? But let's look at some catalog photos of some more that you could have got. Most of these are in the 70s. And here we go. It looks like we have an ape. I don't think it's King Kong. Doesn't look like King Kong, but kids are sitting on its shoulder. That's kind of odd right there. And then, of course, you have Batman, but I believe we'll look at Batman a little closer in a second. We got Yogi Bear. Why would a kid want to buy this and punch Yogi Bear in the face? I'll never know. And there's Popeye. I can understand wanting to hit Popeye in the face. Believe me, watching that cartoon, sometimes I wanted to punch him in the face. I would say, damn, it's the 70s. Why am I watching this 1920s character? And Bozo. I really hated the look of Bozo. Now, this is Bozo the Clown. Sorry, I should have said that so you didn't get them mixed up. Bozo, at least it has a place to aim for. I hate Bozo. I hate looking at this. I want to punch it and kick it. This thing would be popped within an hour because I would hold it down and just beat it until all the air was gone. And here at number 7, I don't know why he didn't get a picture with the rest of them. You have Bam Bam. But I do get it. Bam Bam and Pebbles, they kind of ruined the Flintstones. It was a lot better before they had children. And there's Mickey Mouse dressed as a sheriff, holding guns. Mickey Mouse holding guns? Yeah, you wouldn't see that today. And the oddest of them all is this dolphin. I don't know if it's Flipper or not, but why would you want to beat up a dolphin? What are we teaching the kid? I'm surprised they didn't make one that looked like a seal and it came with his own club so you could beat it to death. And here's another photo of some punch me's. There's Bullwinkle from Rocky and Bullwinkle. So every kid can punch a cartoon their dad grew up with. And there's even Frosty the Snowman. And look at there, Fred Flintstone with a big red nose. He even has a weird looking Pebbles in front of him. So you can beat up the adult or the baby. And the one on the end has a clear bubble at top with balls inside of it. I guess it's supposed to be like brain matter. So you punch him in the face, you get to see him bounce all around. Weird, I know. So now that we looked at the ads and we looked at the Kenner one, let's just look at individual ones from the 70s and 80s. Now, they're not going to be in any order by release date or anything, so I'm going to jump around. You might see something from the 80s and something from the 70s. Calm down. Don't get all upset. Now, let's see if you want to beat up the Hulkster. Hulk Hogan. Now, I'm not really sure what's on this bag. The box didn't show, but maybe it's all three of them. You have the Hulkster right there, all oiled up. And I'm not going to look this up. I'm trying to guess these. I know the middle one, I believe, is Ultimate Warrior. Let me know if I'm right. The Ultimate Warrior. And that other one has to be Jake the Snake. It has a snake on it. And look at this one here. Out of Snap, Crackle, and Pop, you damn right. I will punch Pop in the face. He's right there really big. And there's Toucan Sam. That's right. Kids could punch Toucan Sam. And if you're between the ages of 3 and 10, you could have this superpower Superman pop bag. That's right. You could beat up Superman. I don't know why at 11 you can't hit it anymore. I can understand 2, you might not have the power to hit it. But at 11, I don't think you're going to be strong enough to pop it. And here's the one I had as a kid, or the one my brother had as a kid. Now, this one looks a little different than my memory, so I'm not really sure, but I couldn't find another Star Trek one, at least with Spock on it, so I guess my memory's just faded a little bit. But this is an official Star Trek pop bag. Look at the Enterprise. Shoot some lasers out. Again, there was only a Spock one, at least all I could find. No Klingon to beat up, no Romulan to beat up. There wasn't even a Harry Mudd pop bag. Now let's jump back to the 80s to look at this one. Skeletor. At least it's a bad guy. I can understand this one. This one I can get behind. Beating up a bad guy. I wish he was in a better pose where it looks like maybe he's drawing the sword on you, where he looks like he's fighting back. But no, you can beat up Skeletor. Unless you're a Skeletor fan. And then you would want to buy the He-Man pop bag. And you could beat up not only He-Man, you could beat up Battle Cat and Orko. That's a weird looking He-Man. Let's take a second just to look at it. Look at that strange Pee Wee Herman and Casper behind them. Anyway, let's get back to the pop bag. Is it just me? That is a weird looking He-Man. That looks like a He-Man that probably uses a them and they pronoun. Now going back to the 70s, here's a real person you could beat up. Muhammad Ali pop bag. I don't know with this girl, boy. I don't know if it's a girl. I don't. It's the 70s, so I don't know if it's a boy or girl. But I do like the comic book shirt. I would like to have that myself. But whoever it is, someone needs to teach that kid how to punch. You're not going to knock that punch bag over like that. Getting back to the 80s, don't you love it when a plan comes together? Where you can hit Mr. T right in his face. Or Hannibal or Face. I'm sure Murdoch might be on there somewhere, but I don't see him. I don't know why they didn't have Decker. I sure would have punched Decker in the face. Or how about those 2 characters from the last season? Everyone hated them. But you know what these pop bags remind me of? Weebles. Now, I used to call them Weeble Wobbles. I thought that was the name of them. That's what we all called them in the 70s, Weeble Wobbles. But apparently that's just the tagline. Weebles, wobbles, but they don't fall down. They're just called Weebles. And they wobble. That was the song. I always called them Weeble Wobbles. I was like, hey, Mom, where's my Weeble Wobbles? But these punch bags kind of remind me of Weeble Wobbles, and you could have punched one. Here it is, the Weeble Wobble punch, and that boy's got a punch. Look at him, that's what I call a real punch, although it doesn't let the bag move too much. Now here's another ad with some more punch bags. There's Monster Squad. Who remembers Monster Squad? Released probably in 1977, I think it lasted one season. I don't even know if you call it a full season, but there's a Monster Squad. There's Joe Cool Snoopy. I don't know about you, but I really can't stand Snoopy. And there's Welcome Back Kotter. You can hit one of the sweat hogs. Or maybe you wear the kick Gabe Kapling in the face because he made a horrible joke. And there's the Kong of them all, King Kong. And in yellow is Batman and some nerdy kid wearing a Batman shirt. And he's got what looks like inflatable boxing gloves. Come on, kid, use your fist like everybody else. They even made ones based on cartoons. Here's Tom and Jerry. But why is Tom beating up himself? I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me. But here's something that does make sense. Rocky 3 pop bags. Two different ones. You could get Mr. T. Again, you could beat him up in the A-Team and then beat him up from Rocky. Or Stallone. You could pick which one you wanted to beat up. But if you wanted to beat up an alien, the best alien to beat up was Alf. Yeah, they made an Alf pop bag. And this one's in 3D. I don't really know how it's in 3D, but it says it is. If beating up a fuzzy small alien wasn't your bag, then you could beat up Godzilla, the lizard of all lizards, 48 inches tall, also in 3D. But let's say you wanted to beat up something that was an alien, but kind of human, but kind of a reptile. Don't worry, you could get the V pop bag. There you go. You could beat up a creature from V. I know the photo on the box is a drawing, but look at the very top of the box. That is very creepy. Doesn't look like something you would find on a kid toy. Now let's take a look at one more. Spider-Man pop bag. And it has Spider-Man beating up Spider-Man. Again, I don't know why they didn't put the Green Goblin on it and let Spider-Man beat up Green Goblin. Or on the box they could have put Green Goblin. Or on the box they could have put Captain America punching Spider-Man. You know, he's had a hard day at work. He's tired of Spider-Man getting all the credit. So he goes home and he beats up Spider-Man on his pop bag. That makes a lot of sense, at least to me. Does it to you? Well, that's a look at pop bags. There's a lot of them. I'm probably going to do a whole nother video. I was surprised at some of these they made. I didn't know they made a V one. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know they made the He-Man ones. Like I said, most of these I've seen from the 70s, and by the 80s, I didn't even know. I was too old for them. I didn't even know they made them anymore. And again, I think they still probably make them today, or at least made them in the 90s. But let me know, did you have any of these pop bags? Did you want to punch a Jawa in the face? Or maybe you did punch Spock in the face. Let me know which ones you had or which ones you wish you did have. Maybe you're like, I never even seen these things before, Junkman. Where do you find this stuff? Well, I want to thank you for watching. As always, thumbs up, like my content, subscribe to the channel. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.